I haven't done this for so long, I don't know how to start. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Cedric Delen, and for today's video, I'm going to talk about books. Specifically the books that I finished reading in 2022. So for this video, I'm going to answer questions that I wrote in this notebook of mine regarding my reading for 2022. First question, my favorite reads. With my favorite reads, I can name 3 books in mind that I really loved. So my first favorite read is Scott Hawkins' The Library at Mount Char. Unfortunately, I do not have the physical copy of the book because I lent it to a friend of mine, but basically the story revolves around Carolyn, which is a part of these 9 or 12 orphan children. They are a group, and they are taking care of this father figure of them. And each of these children are asked to study a specific category of books. And these books teaches them skills, different skill sets from one another. The story furthers as their father figures disappear. And it's up to them, the then children, now adults, to find what happened to their father. So I really loved it. Even with the first page of the book, it caught my attention already, and I kept reading it. Even during my breaks at work, I just couldn't put it down because it was just so exciting. And the second book is actually here. It's a children's classic. It's The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And I really loved it. The characters here are adorable. And I finished this, I think, within 3 days, 3 nights. It was quick because I really loved it. And it's actually the first ever fiction read that I did in my life. I remember having a pocketbook version of this at home back then. And then I started just reading it when I was in 7th grade, but I wasn't able to finish it, and I think I lost the copy. And yeah, after a few years, I think it has been 10 years? So I have finally finished reading the first fiction book that I ever picked up in my life. The third book, which doubles as the most heartbreaking book I've read in 2022, is South of Broad by Pat Conroy. This book is such a heartbreaking novel to read. I really loved it. It's full of drama. It's full of realistic slice of life stories. And this book actually revolves around this group of friends who live in South Carolina. And these people in the group has so much dynamic that they worked. Yeah. From teenagers to adults, they're still connected. Oops. Yeah, it's filled with heartwarming moments within the group. It's also filled with heartbreaking stories, of course. And this book, I would say, is a book that I really loved, but also hate at the same time. Mainly because it made me hate and love humanity. Yeah, I'd say it like that to avoid spoilers. But I really enjoyed this. I remember having a book hangover over this. Even weeks after reading this novel, I was still thinking about the ending because it was such a heartbreaking ending for me. But yes, this is one of my favorite books of 2022. Second question is most heartbreaking. Yeah, again, Pat Conroy, South of Broad. Pardon my terrible explanation for these books because I did not prepare a script for the books that I'm going to talk about. Most heartwarming is definitely The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett and The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I know this book has been, the talk of the town. I've heard and read good things about this book, and yeah, fortunately I was able to grab a copy, and this is actually a secondhand copy from an internet friend of mine. And yeah, I bought this from him, and it actually has tabs already when I got it, so that's nice. It's also heartwarming. It tells a lot about the reality in the world actually despite this book being a fantasy. These are my most heartwarming reads of 2022. Number one recommendation, Scott Hawkins' The Library at Mount Char. The first book that I, explained earlier. And how many books I finished? 41 books. Yeah, it should have been 52 books, but I was lazy. I was inconsistent, so 41. How many books did I buy? Okay, this one is interesting because I actually took note of all the purchases I did this 2022. So there's 77 books I bought in 2022. I noted it from January to June and then November. The months missing here are, of course, the months that I did not buy any book, mainly because the bookstore that I always buy my books at closed. So that was heartbreaking for me. But it's also good because I saved tons of money. Because in April, I bought the most books. I bought 33 books. That's a lot. The most costly month in which I bought books was in March. Yeah, with 13 books. I did not finish 5 books this 2022. Should I explain? No, I don't think so. But yeah, I did not finish those books because they weren't doing it for me. Next question is, any reading slump? Yeah, I actually had a reading slump from August to October, I believe. Most read author for 2022. I've read Harlan Coben the most with 7 novels. Most of those novels are from his popular series called Myron Bolitar series. I really loved it, even though I'm not into sports, which is what Myron Bolitar series is all about. I still loved it. Harlan always delivers for me. I think he's my go-to author when it comes to, facing slumps. There has been multiple times in which I was feeling lazy and I was about to hit a reading slump, but then I would just grab a Harlan Coben book and read. Yeah, and it works, fascinatingly enough. I don't know why, but maybe it's because of the familiarity when reading a Harlan Coben book, because I've read so much of his novels. I think I've read 17. I don't know, I've lost track. But yeah, it's probably the way he writes. My thoughts on popular reads. So with my 41 reads this year, in 2022, I've read 3 popular books that I've seen over the internet. First one is House in the Cerulean Sea. Second is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And The Help by Catherine Stockett. If I would rank these 3, I would rank The Help as first. Second, The House in the Cerulean Sea. And the third one is It Ends With Us. Not because I hated It Ends With Us. I think it delivered. It sent a message to its readers, recognize the red flags, I actually didn't read it. I listened to the audiobook of it, but I was still, into it. But not to the point that I really loved it. I do have a genuine question for the readers out there. Please answer me in the comments down below. Why do people hate on Colleen Hoover? I have only read 2 books by her. It's Verity and It Ends With Us. Verity I've read on ebook, and I listened to It Ends With Us. Both are decent novels. Is it the depth, the way Colleen Hoover writes, or is it her themes in her stories? Because I don't get the hate. I'm not a fan as well, and I'm not really a member of any reading communities out there. With the second one, The House in the Cerulean Sea, I was really in love with it. All the characters in the story are so adorable, and they have the characteristics of them which makes them very unique. And yeah, that's all what this is about. So I really loved it. I'm glad I bought it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed this the most. It's The Help by Catherine Stockett. If I remember correctly, this is the most popular book in my reading list of 2022 on Goodreads. Yeah. And if you haven't read or heard about this, this is basically a novel about the helps, African American women working for um, white families in Jackson, Mississippi in 1962. I recommend it as well. It's really nice if you're into domestic fiction novels. So I think that's it for my reading wrap up 2022. Happy New Year to you guys. Bye.